Yo, what's good? I'm your host, John. Welcome to podcast 3,
Chef's Table Podcast,
Chef's
episode
Table,
3.
episode 3. I'm
Man,
right here
John,
with
John John had one job. You had one job. He had one job.
I'm right here with my co-partner.
Co-partner now. Okay, I think he means co-host. Hey, this is how organic we keep the podcast. We're not gonna fix any of John's mistakes. So,
Hey,
welcome to Chef Table Podcast, Uncut, episode 3.
we live.
I'm your co-partner, Chef Chris Brown, and
John.
yeah, man, episode 3.
Episode
Man,
3,
I'm
we
having
made
fun,
it.
man. How's your week so far?
Blessed,
Yeah.
always.
Okay. The last week I said you look tired, but you look fresh.
I look fresh today. I'm ready to go.
You slept in today?
Yeah,
And that time went back?
Yep.
Yeah, you
And
look
that time
rested
went
today.
back.
You look good. You look good today. All right.
Got that extra hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, I want to shout out our sponsor, Tilt, man. I want to take my time with the sponsor today because I'm a shoe head. I collect shoes. I'm a sneaker head. I love Tilt, man.
Mhm.
They got some affordable prices, man, because people tax on shoes, man. So I love what they're doing in the community. They're in Inglewood, and they're at the bridge. I don't know what they call the bridge now, but I'm old, so that's the bridge. They're right next to the movie theater. Check them out. Follow them on Instagram at Tilt. They might have a TikTok. Check it, Tilt, but it's TILT Tilt.
Tilt.
The twins that
Thanks for the
are
sponsorship.
the owners of Tilt. I actually went to middle school with them, and cool dudes. So they laced us up with some gear. We got some hats. I actually had to bring some kicks that I bought for them, because I can't tell people they got heat, and I got to show the heat. So I got these from Tilt. You know what I'm
You went
saying?
and cop some shit.
The bread dunks.
Yeah.
And then I also got these bad boys, the Lost and Founds. So I got a big foot, so I know this is funny on the table. But
Hey, you know
shout
what
out
they say
to
about
Tilt,
big
man. Come on, John, already. Shout out to Tilt, man, for supplying the heat and for being the sponsor for today's episode. So shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys.
Shout out.
All right. Love and poetry? Or what is it again? I don't want to forget.
Journey of poetry.
Journey of poetry. Okay. Journey of poetry. We want to welcome today's guest. First of all, man, he's brave for coming on this episode, man, because this episode it could get pretty dark. For a lot of people that are listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, drugs in the kitchen is very common and is an ongoing thing since the beginning of cooking, and I think it's even worse now because of how easy it is to have access to it. I mean, every restaurant I've been the executive chef at, man, I was not only battling people calling out sick, people not doing their job, man, I'm battling drugs, going in the bathroom, finding little bags of cocaine or,
oh, damn.
Cooks going on break, coming back on crystal meth. Marijuana, man, a lot of people don't consider that a drug. There's functioning people that use marijuana and stuff like that. I'm talking about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hard drugs.
Our guest today is he's brave enough, and I got a lot of respect for him for coming on to be able to share his experience as he struggled with drug usage, drug addiction. But my man is definitely on the path of sobriety. Oh man, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not drugs, people. It's not drugs. I know I'm talking about drugs and I'm slurring and stuttering. No, it's not drugs. It's the energy drinks. And he's a chef, and he's actually the author of, what's your book called?
Journey of poetry.
Journey of Poetry. Okay, so I know that book is in development, so when that book comes out, make sure you guys check that book out. I know I'm gonna check it out for sure. I'm gonna support James, Chef James. So we want to welcome you to the podcast. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, welcome.
So let's get this thing started, man. I want to start off by, this is a platform for chefs. You're a chef, you're in the restaurant industry, you're also an author. So we want to start off by letting the guests know a little bit more about you. So why don't you just start off by just telling us where you're from, a little bit of background about yourself.
Yes, sir. So I grew up around Pedro. I originally was born in Riverside. After that, moved to Pedro. After Pedro, I started growing up in like Torrance area. So I got my fair share of, the silver spoons and also the people that kind of like are in between the struggle, So, and then after that, kind of like ended up losing myself like within all that path. Ended up homeless, looking for places to stay, struggling, of course, and got blessed enough with a place to stay in Cerritos, and that's where I'm currently at right now.
Okay, so you named a lot of cities. Where are you from? Where are you repping? Like if somebody
LA, of course.
Okay, so LA.
Yeah, we can go deeper. Like I say, it's as
Hey.
I stayed in Colorado for a good year too, and I wouldn't
Okay.
say that that's any better than out here.
Okay, so this man is all over the map. Okay, all right. Where are you from?
LA.
Okay, he's from LA.
I'm from
all right.
LA.
Because I said, where you from? He said Colorado, LA. I was like, all right. We just want to get on the same page now. What a wacky episode with drugs, man. I promise people listening and watching, we are against it and we are here to talk about it. But it sounds like we are on it right now. So yeah, we're good, guys. We're good. All right. So I got one more question for you. You said you were homeless.
Yes,
How
sir.
old were you when you were homeless, man? Because being homeless, man, I'm just curious to age, because I know it sounds like you moved
I'll say
around
about
a lot.
13, but it was by choice at first. Like, ended up going through my own like downfall within doing my own drugs and creating that foundation of people that like are only supportive through the drug habits. And through that, I ended up like on a house arrest and cut it off, went on my own way, and just like completely went MIA. And after that was the first time I ever got sobriety, was going into the juvenile hall systems.
Oh, so you've been to juvenile hall? Okay. How old were you when you first did drugs, and which drug was it?
First drug I tried was marijuana,
Mhm.
and that's because I got kicked out of my middle school. So 7th grade, I was about 12, 13.
Yeah. Okay, you 12, 13. Okay, so back then that was a drug back then. So let's go back. So you're homeless now, right? You couch surfing with friends,
Yes,
like, because
sir.
I mean, 13 and homeless, that I can't even imagine that. That's crazy.
Couch
that's a
surfing
very
most
young
of
age.
my life, actually.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when did you, or how did you get in the industry? Because you're a chef, so obviously you worked in restaurants, like, so we want to make sure we focus on that too. Like,
Of course.
how did you get in the restaurant industry, and how did you know you wanted to cook and become a chef?
I just got introduced from one of my friends that I met, guided me on that path. He's a very good cook himself. So he guided me to, get my first job, which was a very decent place to be. I worked my way in and found like my place in the restaurant through like saute or prep, cutting up and doing different stuff like that. And then from there, I found like my passion in the cooking industry, I would say, would be like saute or like cooking on the grill. Certain different plates like salmon or fish would be like what
So
I
you're
consider.
you're a seafood guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Surf and turf, that'd be my plate all day.
All right, yeah, I'm hungry right now. Actually.
Did you go to culinary school, or did you like have any like experience in like professionalism or anything like that?
I did not, but I found my way through like working at a Mexican restaurant and pretty much earning my way to the top and being the closest to being the lead of that restaurant and pretty much becoming the lead sous chef.
Wow. Okay.
So you got a lot of experience just
Yes,
working
sir.
in the restaurant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dang. Yes, sir. You have a military background or something?
I'm working on it.
He's
Okay.
Working
All
on
right.
it.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So real quick, a lot. I always say this every podcast. Most of our viewers, or I'm not sure who, they could be in the restaurant industry. They could not be. So I usually like to touch on certain topics. Now, a lot of people don't always go to culinary school. That's usually by choice. Some of the best chefs went into restaurants, started off a busboy, maybe a dishwasher, prep, worked their way up through the line, management, junior sous chef. So that's why we typically ask, because culinary school does have its advantages, but it's not something that's necessary if you're looking to become a chef, especially today with YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon from Oh My Burger, he was self-taught.
He was self-taught.
Owns a restaurant. Restaurant's lit.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he has
Pablo.
a banner on the freeway. I just saw that.
You did?
Yeah, he has a
shit.
big banner on the freeway. So he's self-taught.
Yeah,
He's lit right
shout
now.
out Oh My Burger. Tell us more about your first job that you had. Was it it was a restaurant, right?
Yes, sir. Mexican restaurant.
And what was the name of that restaurant?
I'd rather not name drop if we're gonna get into the topic of like
What's the city?
The city? Oh, it'd be Redondo Beach.
Okay, so you worked at a
Yes,
Mexican
sir.
restaurant on
Okay.
Redondo Beach. Okay.
Yes, sir.
How was it?
How
like
was
as
that?
far as
Yeah.
the coworkers and like, I mean,
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed
For
waking
the
up?
most part, I enjoyed everything about it. The chef, he was like top notch. Everything about like the environment was great. But when it came down to like certain amount of the coworkers or like stuff like that, I would come across people that aren't like on the best path themselves. So along that line, it's like also was leading to certain temptation I could see within myself, but also like would reflect that I could be a good role model for them as well by either sharing my story or trying to get them out of their own habits within it.
So did you end up helping those people out?
Some of them, and some I just had to completely avoid because I already knew it would just be turmoil for myself.
Let me ask you a question about like as far like coworkers and stuff like that, because I always thought that like kitchens are cliquey. So like if you got a handful of dudes that get high together, do coke together, whatever, and you got the person that's not, he's kind of like an outcast. And I felt that in kitchens before. I'm like, man, why do those 3 dudes like not help that guy, or why are they never have his back? They just let him drown. Then when I start to realize that these dudes are friends and they getting high before, during, and after work, and they're asking the other dude to get high, and he's like, nah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Then they kind of look at him like, oh, he's too good, forget that guy, whatever. Did you ever experience that, or like which side were you on? Were you the guy doing drugs, or were you the guy on the other side?
Well, to be honest, it all started like I guess at some point I was like not an enabler, but I was a hustler. So I would kind of like outsource to even pinpoint those kind of people and find out who was the ones that either I could make money off or the kind of people that I know ain't even really about that life.
Yeah.
So those are the people that I try to like help. And when it came down to like it for me, it's like I already knew my limits with certain drugs and certain people I would completely avoid. Like say like people I know that are doing anything that's meth related or worse. That's like one of the things that ended up making me homeless in the beginning of it all. So I would like stay as far as away from it as I possibly could.
Back to that. So how old were you when you first used meth the first time?
I would say about 14.
And what was that experience like?
The most addicting thing that I've ever encountered in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't put it down. It destroyed my life. It ruined my hustle, and that's what ended me completely avoiding my whole family and going on the run and just being with probably the people that I consider the worst, and me also being the worst out of any of my surroundings.
And you said 14?
14, yes, sir.
Damn. That's crazy to think about, bro. Because I was playing video games at 14, man. Just,
me too.
I couldn't imagine
stuck
that.
in my room.
Yeah. Now,
playing Call of Duty until like 3 a.m.
Did you finish school? Like, how were you with school? Because I mean, like, all I'm hearing is 14 and homeless and on the run. Like, where does school come into play in that?
I was still always going to continuations. I was blessed enough to be able to move to a continuation when I first got kicked out of school. That ended up introducing me to drugs in the beginning, and after that it's just been like continuation after continuation. And so like I moved also to Highland Park, East LA, and when I lived out there it was like one of the only real high schools that I went to, besides when I also got incarcerated as a minor and they sent me to a placement, and that was Fontana High School. So besides those 2 high schools, I've never been to a real high school, but I got my GED in Colorado when I stayed out there just to be able to graduate and say I still graduated with my class. 2013.
So you kind of missed the whole high school experience with
Yes,
homecoming,
yes, sir.
prom, playing sports, all that.
Yes, sir.
There's some people out there who don't regret anything. They're like, this is my life, this is my story. I don't regret the decisions I made because I am who I am because of it. Do you regret missing the high school experience? Because that's kind of a big deal.
I can't say that I regret it. The only thing that I could say is I could have done it a little better. But the fact that I took the route that I did, I am most appreciative of it and do not regret, because it made me realize, because I see this a lot through like some of the people that I still surround myself with. I've seen it a lot where me going through those things at a very young age prepared my mind to avoid going through it at the age I am now. So if I were to go through those things at the age I am now, or like what I see within some other people that I've come across, like they might have the possibility of never getting out of it. Like I actually have the opportunity of already going through that experience, so I know where it's gonna lead me to, And then people that are brand new to it, it's like it's a whole other world. Like it could take them at least 10+ years to even be able to see that clarity within themselves to grow,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How old were you when you got incarcerated? Like,
I would say the first time it was through that expulsion that I got. It was first time I was about like maybe 12, and they took me to Los Padrinos juvenile hall. Yes, sir. And from that it was my first offense, so they released me on the house arrest. and that's kind of where it all went downhill. Because
Man.
that alone was even too much freedom for me to have.
So like when having that happen to you at such an early age, like you just lose your whole childhood,
Yes, sir. I definitely did through all that.
your
Yeah,
teenage years and all that stuff.
I didn't ever like get out of the system until like just before even being an adult, like 17, I think.
Damn.
It's kind of crazy because I'm hearing his rap sheet right now, and the dude is so chill and so
Right.
laid back. I'm like, man, on paper, this dude sounds like a monster, but this dude is just so
Yeah.
chill and so
Right.
relaxed, man. Just he's a
Yeah.
vibe. I don't know. Yeah.
No doubt.
So I want to get back into like you as a chef. How did you cook, prep, and make food high? And when I say high, I'm not talking about weed. I'm talking about on drugs. Like were you like you were that function, like you can function that at that
Yeah.
type of level?
Yes,
Because
sir.
dude, I mean like
Not
what,
proud of that part at all, but definitely yes, sir. to
no,
answer your
well
question.
tell us about it. I mean, how, just like actually better
Man.
yet, what were some of the drugs you use when working?
Specifically cocaine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What is it about cocaine that you felt like, because that's the biggest drug used in the kitchen?
Yes.
So
It
it's
is.
not just you,
Cocaine
it's
and
you
beer.
and thousands of others. You know, what
Cocaine
was
and
it about
beer.
cocaine in the kitchen that? Because we don't know, and we want to know why from someone that's used it. Why is that such a popular drug in the kitchen? Can you kind of dive in that and talk to about that?
I would say first off, it's probably the most easily obtainable. Most people like that's more of a like a designer drug that's like more like okay, or like people are easily able to get a hold of. Like would say recommend not now, you know, because the fentanyl is a big like pandemic going on right now as well. But along the lines of that is like that's the one drug that I learned how to like master the way that I could still be able to like function and go to work, because that's one thing that led me to make my limits or create what I know as cycles of me not being able to use the drugs for like performance, saying like going to work, or destroying my life by not going to work. So I ended up getting to the point where either I was going to stop the drugs or be able to use the drugs and also still go to work. And that's when I realized that I was even creating a worse cycle for myself by staying up for multiple days and still going to work and still perfectly functioning to the point where I'm still shining and doesn't even appear like I was on drugs.
So when you be off the drugs, like going days or however long you had it on you, like did anybody like call you out on it? Like when you went to work and you like maybe you had to like situate yourself before you even walk in, or like maybe hope that like nobody finds out that you were off cocaine.
Yeah, like man,
Like,
that
did
dude is
did
fast
anybody
today,
ever
man.
like
That
did they
dude
tell
might
a
be on
difference?
one.
Like could anybody like tell the difference from like, and did they ever like tell you?
See, that's the thing that's kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say disappointing within myself, but the thing that I kind of like look down upon within myself. I was doing it that regularly that no one would even notice the
Oh,
difference
so
within
nobody
myself.
could actually tell like the regular you.
No, sir, because I wasn't even close to what the regular me ever even was till like this past year. This past year was the first year I actually like dedicated my time into like sobriety and like figuring out how that even works within myself.
Damn.
Well, man, just talking about being in the kitchen gives me anxiety because there's so much
Same.
stuff going on at all times of the kitchen, man. Something's always breaking, something's always falling apart. My anxiety is horrible in the kitchen, man, because I'm the type of person, I'm just waiting for somebody to call out. I'm waiting for something to break. I'm waiting for a customer to complain about something. I couldn't imagine being on that because I know that drug kind of makes you aggressive sometimes. Is that true?
Not for
Changes
me,
your
no.
emotions, or
Not
It's
for me,
different
no. But
everybody?
I've seen it in a lot of people, like especially people that love mixing that with alcohol. That's what makes the aggression in most people.
So my question is now, how were you when you weren't on it at work?
Just tired.
Yeah.
They weren't able to like be as efficiently of a worker at first, you know. I had to figure out how that worked too when I first wanted to be sober.
Did it affect your job as far as like, man, you're not on it for 2 days, you calling out sick, or
No, sir.
no, you never called out
None.
sick because of it?
No.
Okay.
I would call out sick because if anything, I wasn't on the drug anymore. Like saying like I've been up all night and I didn't want to go to work because then I'd be too tired because I wouldn't have any more drugs.
unless you kept doing it, you'd be like, ah, let's go.
Yeah, of course, no problem,
Suited.
no problem.
So, we obviously talked about your sobriety. Like, how was that journey, like being in the kitchen? Like, did it make it difficult to stay sober? I mean, because for example, like if I was an alcoholic and I was a bartender,
Mm-hmm.
that would be super
Uh-huh.
super hard to not drink and
Right.
practice being
Sneak
sober
shots or sneak
while
something like.
being a bartender.
Yeah.
You know, how was it kind of like battling sobriety, being in the kitchen, knowing that drugs are easily accessible in the kitchen?
Yeah, it made it hard, but it was also the most appreciation of the growth through that. People not believing me that I'm even sober.
Mhm.
So it was like almost like dumbfounding for some people to even be like, "Oh, like you're a month sober, okay? Like you're a day sober, even like okay." No one would believe it. So that gave me a lot of self recognition and just
Okay.
knowing that I was able to be like that, and people would still compare me to my past.
Yeah.
So it just give myself in my heart I know I'm true. Whether or not you're saying that you think that I'm true, like that is irrelevant to me. I know in my heart that I'm pure and golden, so that was what helped me grow through the sobriety alone and want more of it, because then
Mhm.
not only am I getting self recognition, I'm also setting a good example for the people that like are seeing how I was and can't make it past that first step to even take a day of sobriety, for example.
You know, talking to this dude, I get the vibe that you really don't care about what people think about you.
Not at all. Shout
Okay.
out to my family if they're watching.
They'll watch. They'll watch. The reason I said that is I want to know, man. Don't hold back. What is the craziest like just tell me a crazy story in the kitchen, like maybe you got too high, just something bad happened, like I would like what just walk me through like one of the crazy experiences, like man, I'll never do that again at work, or I'll never mess with that drug at work, like just tell me something.
I would say being in the dish pit, like already like maybe a day in or whatever, slightly tired or whatever, but still like, doing my knocking it out and just slicing like my hand in half in the dish pit.
What were you on when you were washing dishes?
What was I on? I was on cocaine.
Okay.
On cocaine, and I've been up for maybe like a day or so. The whole night or day after.
So you've been when you say been up, no sleep, no nap, no nothing.
none at all.
Damn.
Not even a moment of sleep or laying down even.
What did you
probably.
do after you sliced your hand, or what happened?
Just try to play it off, make it look like I'm good. Go wrap it up, put it in an
Put
extra
another
glove, and
glove
then
on.
Oh
just
my
go without
God.
my day.
Okay, well, we don't want to know what restaurant that was at. We don't want to know which restaurant that was at. What city was it in? Because I might have eaten there that night.
No, this was actually when I was working in a sushi restaurant.
Sushi
restaurant.
Sushi
That's
restaurant.
even worse. If you had spicy tuna or a side of sriracha that day.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, I was only on the dishes.
some raw tuna.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just on
man.
the
Bloody.
dish pit. that whole
Spicy
night.
tuna was really irony that day, huh? Oh, man.
You can taste it in your teeth.
Pause. I can't believe you just said that. Oh my God, taste it in your teeth. That was crazy. Do you have any siblings? Tell me about
Not
your
at
family.
all. I have no siblings. I have a lineup of cousins from here to Colorado,
Mhm.
and besides that, majority of my family is all women. Like my aunts, my mom, my grandmother, and out in Colorado it'd be my grandfather, and it was my great grandfather, rest in peace, and my great grandmother. Besides that, like my cousins and all of his side of the family, all native.
Okay, John, you don't have any kids, right?
No.
That you know of?
No.
Okay, I got 2 kids, and the reason why I asked is because, as a parent, I couldn't imagine my kid, and I'm just speaking on my end. Couldn't imagine my kid dealing with the demons that you dealt with at 13 and 14. I don't know what that would do with my relationship with them. I don't know what that would do to me as a parent, as a man. What's your relationship like with your mom? Because, when people are doing drugs and they're out, only focusing on themselves, they forget about their family. So
No, of
how's your
course.
relationship with your mom like after? Because you put her through hell, sounds like.
I did.
So
I did.
how's
I'll
you
admit
guys'
that.
relationship today?
Today we're great. We're great. We love it. We've always been treated like the black sheep out of the whole family. So like I feel like that just made our bond even stronger, just as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So like through that, I just like grown to like accept the fact that I wasn't the best son, and learn from that how I could be a better son for my mother. Because my mom, I would give her the most credit of it all because she was a single mother, raised me since I was the age of 2, and I would honestly say for myself, I turned out pretty decent after the end of it all,
Yeah.
or up to this point.
Okay. And we like to take this time to shout out his mom. I feel
Shout
like
out
there's a
all
lot of
moms, hell
single
yeah.
moms out there that are holding it down. So shout out to all you guys.
All the
You
single
know.
ladies. All the single ladies.
That's good, man, because you can always repair a relationship with, your mom, your kids. It's never too late. And it sounds like you might have made some mistakes when you were young, but that you guys are in a good place, and that's good. Um, so tell me a little bit about this book. What was the motivation behind like writing this book? And what's the title again?
Journey of Poetry.
Journey of Poetry. So what inspired you to even become an author and start a book?
Well, when I first started getting on my sober path, or even before that, like down in the rock bottom pits, I was trying to formulate like whatever I could use as a form of vent. So I started off this book, and it was my coldest part of my lifetime, and I used that and formulated that into the beginning of what the book is. That's why it's called The Journey of Poetry. So it starts from the darkest of where I've been in my lifetime up to like where I am now. So it solidifies the beginning to like the process of getting through anything like that,
Okay.
to like where it ends up being when you finally start seeing the brighter side of it all.
Okay.
And it's about 4 books that I had all separate type of poetry, and put it all together in the end, starting with the original intro from my first book that I wrote, and then ending off with the first book that I ever put an outro into.
So when do you think you'll ever drop it?
I'll say I'd have the book ready and published to at least show the world within about a month.
Oh, you say in about a month?
Yeah,
okay.
about a month. I'm still
Okay.
in the process of finding a decent publisher that could be able to either mass market it,
Okay.
or if I'm just going to do the self-publishing myself.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm excited, man. I can't wait for that to drop.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it.
Can you tell us about like the type of restaurants you worked at? And I know we don't want to do names, so you can say, Mexican restaurant, Redondo Beach. I just kind of want to get a feel of what type of food you've cooked and like a little bit of your resume.
Oh, okay, so I've done like you said, Mexican food in Redondo Beach.
Okay.
I've also worked at a Italian pizza and spaghetti and stuff like that in
Okay.
Hollywood. Besides that, I've done sushi and Cerritos,
Okay.
and I also did a boba prep. So I was making everything that goes into the boba drinks, like
Okay.
say the boba, all the mochi, like everything that goes along the lines of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
I've done all of that.
Colorado, did you cook out there?
I did, but it was just like a little side thing for fun, It's not
Okay.
really. My grandpa lives in a very rural area, and
Oh, okay.
and they got food trucks, but they are complete garbage. So that's like honestly like what I was just doing just to test the waters and see how it worked out there.
So the food in Colorado is garbage? Because I've never been to
Not
Colorado.
saying the food itself is garbage, Colorado.
Be careful what you say, man. We got people watching from Colorado.
I'm just saying where my grandpa lives, I would only recommend 1 or 2 of the trucks around there,
Okay.
and 1 Mexican restaurant out of everywhere around there.
Okay, you mind actually shouting them out?
I do not remember the name.
Okay, so it wasn't that good then.
Oh, you just got a little.
I'm a if something's fire, I'm gonna
Memory.
remember it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for real.
So it was good. It wasn't fire.
Yes, exactly. It was
all right,
mids,
all
straight
right.
mids.
Mids.
How long did you live in Colorado?
For 2 different durations. The first time I was 17 and 18, and that's when they first legalized marijuana. And after that was a couple years ago, and I stayed for almost a full year.
Do you currently smoke weed?
I smoke weed about maybe a week, once a week. Like try to wean off of it. My thing were the dabs. Like I would smoke wax or concentrates, preferably. But if I smoke weed, sometimes it's just like weed's too strong nowadays. So yeah, it just kind of like doesn't really like fit my mind state.
Do you smoke weed currently?
As of right now, I only smoke weed probably about when I'm with my friends that smoke weed, or like once a week, just because sometimes it does really like put me in the right state of mind where it really like helps me out, preferably the dabs. But like with weed nowadays is so good. Like I'll take 1 hit and I'll know how strong it is.
So like from eating an edible to smoking a dab to smoking weed, it's like all a different high, right?
Definitely.
So which one do you prefer?
I would say dabs.
Okay.
Like a good little dab, some isolate or some good little diamonds. That'd be straight.
And then with like smoking weed, do you see it as like a gateway drug? Maybe like, does it make you want to like go get a beer?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. We can kind of like
go
open
get
up the
something
doors.
else, or like go get some shrooms, or like you want to enhance the high, or like.
It all depends the person, I would say. But the main reason why I would consider that being a possibility for anybody is like, say like you don't go to shops and you got like a certain homie that like is a best person or got the best prices for certain stuff. After that is when like it'll introduce you to say he sells other things, or after that you hang around with him and say he does other things. Then that's when you're in the surrounding of being able to access those kinds of narcotics.
And then now it's easy access.
Easy access, yeah.
He showed you what he's got, and he's like, no, this time I'm not gonna get weed.
Yeah.
Would you guys say shops are like the safest to get marijuana?
I mean, Safest,
with everything going on?
no, because there's illegal shops out there that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that get
And
raided. You know what I mean? They could be selling bad shit, ain't even on the map.
Okay.
that
know what I
part,
mean?
and they
People
also
hand out
sell mushrooms
flyers.
at them. Like
Yeah,
there's a loophole where it's medical for mushrooms,
Mhm.
so you'll know the difference between what's a legal shop and what's not a legal shop because they use that loophole in order to be able to sell psilocybin as recreational or medical use in their shop.
Okay.
So that's what also could create the, like you're saying, what was the word? Gateway.
Yeah.
Using that as a gateway in order to be able to, okay, if I can handle weed, I can handle mushrooms, and sometimes that ain't the case for people. You know, they think it's just like a little high like that, but that stuff will literally throw you in and put you in your place or give you a good high, whatever you're trying to look for,
man.
or whatever it's trying to teach you along the process.
I have a question for you. So, when let's just say you got a job at a Mediterranean restaurant, you walk in there. How do you know, like, what are the signs of like, oh, okay, I know this dude might be down to do coke with me, or like going into a new restaurant, like what are the signs you look for, you see to potentially out somebody that is willing to sell you drugs or do drugs? Like, kind of give us an example for that for the viewers listening.
I would say it all starts with the way that like someone presents themselves, the way they carry themselves throughout the kitchen, their work ethic, and definitely how often they're disappearing.
That's crazy that you say that, man, because boy, oh boy, disappearing, man.
Yeah, you'd be like,
I
tickets
felt-
coming in, you'd be like,
Dude, I can't
like,
tell
where's
you,
this
man.
guy at, man?
I thought I
Getting
was
complaints like the service, like, where's the cook?
Yeah, I felt like a detective, man, because I spent a majority of my times on Fridays and Saturdays looking for people.
Those are the main days.
God, it was
huh?
like Blue's Clues, man. I got my notepad walking around looking for like I'm like, dude, I look in the dish pit, there's 1,000 plates,
crayon
my
and shit,
dishwasher's
like-
gone.
Yeah.
I got 1,000 tickets in coming on. My two guys on my
Dirty
fryer are gone.
dishes, tickets,
And then
coming
they
in.
come back and then they just kill it. And now it all makes
Like,
sense. I'm like,
yeah.
these dudes are gone for 20 minutes. Everything's behind. There's 100 tickets. And then they come in and just kill it.
Yeah.
And then clean up and gone like that. Okay, so disappearing. Now I know to look for that. All right. This is a funny question, actually. Out of all the types of food you cook, because you've worked at a lot of different types of food, or a lot of different types of restaurants, Japanese sushi, Italian, Mexican. What type of food did you experience had the most drug usage?
I would say definitely the Mexican restaurants.
The Mexican restaurants?
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a specific reason why, or?
Well, I don't know what it is, but it's like they would kind of do anything in order to be able to just get through their shift.
Yeah.
Whether it's drinking a beer all night or doing a little line of some crystal,
Oh my
like
God.
like
You
or
have any
doing-
stories you could tell us about working in Mexican restaurants and your coworkers doing drugs?
Yeah, to backtrack on what you're saying, how do you
Okay.
know the ones that say "saca la bolsita"? Anybody says "saca la bolsita," you already know
like code
they're way down for the drugs and probably would do any of them.
Okay, you mind translating that for the viewers?
That
don't
means
speak
pass
Spanish?
the small bag.
Oh, pass the small.
Pass the small
Pásale-
bag.
pásale-
Saca la
Pasale
bolsita.
is pass,
Okay.
but
Okay.
sacale is like grab.
Oh, okay. So it's grab the
Okay.
small
Yeah,
bag.
grab
Okay.
the small
Okay.
bag.
Okay. So if I hear that in the kitchen, okay. All right. red flag. Red flag
Yeah,
right there.
Red flag.
Any more stories about like your coworkers in Mexican restaurants like doing crazy drugs or like trying to introduce you to crazy drugs? Like, tell us more about that.
I'd say like a long time. I was 7 years clean off methamphetamine at the time.
Okay.
And one of these guys was like saying, "Oh yeah, I could get you coke, whatever." And then when I went with him to the car to go meet up with him or get it, I sit in the car and I kind of already like felt the vibe of what him and the guy were doing, because I was sitting in the back. And then I was just like immediately asked, I was like, "It's not coke, huh?" And he's like, "No, it's cristal." And I was like, hopped out of the car. I was go.
You
Somebody
were gone?
left me on the line by myself to handle the whole night, and then came in at the very end, and I was already done. And he's like, "Oh, it's no mas," and I was like, "Bro, go home." Like,
Damn.
I finished the whole night by myself and didn't even want any more drugs after like hopping in that situation.
So you didn't do any drugs that night? I
No,
take it?
none
Okay.
at all. None
Okay.
at all.
See, that's why I like to ask, because he said he was 7 years sober, and dude, you could have relapsed right then and there.
Definitely.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
For you to be like,
Definitely.
oh, that's just as easy, just to.
Of course.
Restaurant owners out there, man, if anybody's listening, to this or watching this, and you own a restaurant, take these things, in, because, we got somebody in here that's firsthand, that's worked in kitchens, worked on the line, and it's kind of spitting some game. At the end of the day, I have a lot of respect for this industry. I love this industry. This industry has been good to all of us.
Same.
Likewise.
And I don't want anybody's drug usage to cause somebody's restaurant to suffer from it. People don't think about being high, man. You can hurt someone. You can be carrying hot pans and run into someone, or carrying a sharp knife and all because you're high and you don't know what's going on. So
Going crazy.
These are just, we're just informing the viewers and informing people that, drugs is not just in the streets. It's everywhere. And it's huge in the kitchens, man. And I've dealt with it for years and years and years. And now I know, Basile, what is it again?
Saca la bolsita.
Okay, yeah. Now I know what that means. I feel like I heard that plenty of times. Friday. It's always Friday and Saturday nights. I heard that, actually. Now I think about it. So you're sober now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many years have you been sober?
I wouldn't say years, but this year I've been at least 50% of the time sober.
Okay.
So like you said, how if I use marijuana, the only time I would say that I'm not sober would be if I'm smoking weed or anything related to that. So for the most part, I'm just like trying to stay on my grind and focus and learn the sobriety of it within myself, because I would have like at least a month. My goal was 2 months this year to get a sobriety. And I feel like once you get through that first month of sobriety, that's what the cravings are. When you kind of feel like you're lost in triggers. After that first month is when you actually start learning of what the world of sobriety even is.
Do you consider marijuana a drug? Personally, do you?
I'm not saying that it's a drug, but if you were to be on a sober path, then you're not on a sober path or sober if you're smoking marijuana.
Completely not doing anything,
completely sober
no
would
alcohol,
nothing.
weed.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
No substance at all whatsoever. No substance at all in general. It's not. I consider a drug. I would say it's definitely a substance that would affect your mental state.
Okay. Are you taking a break from the restaurant industry as a chef, or are you currently working in restaurants right now? What's your status right now?
As of right now, I took a little hiatus from working in restaurants because I had injured my knee.
Okay.
And I haven't been able to figure out exactly what that injury had came from. Okay. So I'm just going through that, but I have applied recently at a new Mexican restaurant called. Okay. So I'm gonna see how that works out.
Okay. Are you nervous about going in the restaurant industry, practicing sobriety? Going back in?
Not at all, because I feel like I've learned enough to be able to make my way through it without losing myself in it once again. And that's why I'm excited to get this new position, because I have an interview tomorrow. So if I get this position, then I'm going to walk in that restaurant and show them everything I got. If they're not willing to let me do that, then on to the next one. Oh, that's kind of how I learned my ethic works. If they're going to give me... What was that?
What was the position you applied for?
So I walked in and I asked what position after... introducing myself to the manager. I asked them what positions they had. They said line cook or dishwasher, and I told them that I want to be either the lead cook or sous chef material. So after they interview me, I will also express that then, and then give them maybe a couple days to see how they'll treat me as a worker or what opportunities they give me, and that's how I'll decide if I want to stay there.
And you said, yeah, you guys better hire him. Yeah, if you guys watch this, I don't think you'll watch this, but hire this guy, please.
I deserve it. You'll see.
Speaking of restaurants, man, well, we like to play this game. We've been doing it. It's been working out okay. I think we might have started a war. It's called Good Cop, Bad Cop. So how this game works is I'm gonna ask you, one of your favorite restaurants to eat. You can choose a city, whatever, and really shout them out, praise them, let them just know the name of the restaurant, what you got, what you enjoy about it. And the bad cop, John's going to ask you a restaurant that you just think is overrated, had a horrible experience, and you got to do the same. You got to let us know who it is, what you ordered. So,
okay.
All right. So,
hope they don't come for me.
Pause.
He said 4, right? I'm just making sure. Okay. He said, "Come for me." Okay, yeah.
Hope they don't.
For me.
That was a good pause, John. John's, ladies and gentlemen, John's first pause. Was that your first pause?
It's my first pause.
Okay. How did it feel?
Felt really good.
Pause. All right. Favorite restaurant that you're eating at? Where? Name of it? Would you get? Go.
El Segundo, and the place is called. It's right there in the village.
Okay, I
Man,
know where
that
that's
place
at. I
is
know where that's
bomb,
I
at.
would say that was like
It's
one
a
of the
burger
top
spot,
yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah,
Place is
yeah, yeah.
bomb.
Favorite spot. If I could recommend any of the burgers, I would say either the Lano Poblano or the one that is the. Give me one second. Give me
Oh
one second.
man, I'm getting hungry.
Lano Poblano. I can't remember it. Oh well, Lano Poblano.
Okay.
Then we'll just go with that.
Okay. Why is it your favorite place to eat?
I would say my reason why it's my favorite place to eat is because they have every type of option that you would want. Say like vegan style, or if you
Mhm.
wanted a burger, they have multiple different kinds. Lamb, bison, and that's the other burger that I'm trying to remember. The bison burger. They have turkey patties.
Okay.
They have a lamb, and then they have a few others. And
Good
they're-
service too.
Good service,
Okay.
great location, good hospitality. Everything's prepped in house, so it's all fresh. And
Okay.
they also grind their own meat and create their own patties.
Okay. Okay.
Everything that they have there is all in house.
What
Yeah.
about the fries?
The fries are also made in house. The fries all come in a
Are
box.
they cut fresh?
Yeah, they're all cut fresh. 7
Man,
a.m. in the
'cause-
morning. They chop them all up, blanch them, and then get them all ready and drop them all in the fryer as they go. So
That's-
their kitchen is huge. I love that kitchen.
So he just gave it away. This guy's a chef because he said blanch French fries. Yes, that is
He's
definitely
giving away the
chef. That
secrets already.
is a vocabulary of a chef.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention that I did work there as well.
Oh, okay. So he did work there. Okay, all right. Well, hold on. Before we get to the back hop, you
Mhm.
just opened up another question. Was the drug usage in that restaurant?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It was the heaviest of the cocaine usage I've seen was in that restaurant.
Yeah. Tell me a little more about it. Like were you the one supplying it, or like how did it who introduced you to it? Because obviously you went to that restaurant as a new employee.
Mhm.
So like how did it happen? How did you get into the circle?
Well, I would honestly say it was the the GM.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, no names. Yeah.
No
actually,
locations.
let's move on. We'll stop it right there. Yeah, I think we're getting a little too risky right there because we said the location.
Oh, you
yeah,
did?
yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
no, it's okay though. It's all right.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, out of all the restaurants you've eaten at, which one would you say was the worst restaurant? Like you'll never go back, or like something happened to where like you order something and it was just like,
I would say Tommy's in Norwalk.
Tommy's, is that what is that, a burger?
It's a
place?
burger, yeah, chili burgers.
Ooh, chili burger.
Yeah, chili burgers.
Did
And
you have
I've
to,
had
like-
Tommy's before, and it's been fire, and just like something about that exact location is just not it.
What happened after you ate at that place? Were
Oh,
in
you
the
know,
restroom all
bubble
day?
guts, and it's just not the vibe.
Yeah, the Hershey squirt.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Hershey squirts.
This is the second time somebody has come on this podcast and disrespected a place I love.
No, I'm
This
talking
is
about
second time?
the Norwalk or Artesia one.
Tommy's.
I don't care if you said Legoland.
Please don't go to that one.
Tommy's
Chef.
is
It might
fire,
ruin
no
Tommy's
mat-
for
no,
you.
listen.
Maybe
I-
it was just the location.
Yeah, it's just the location. That's the only
Okay.
one that's like
'Cause
that. I
it-
love Tommy's myself. Like I feel
Okay.
bad to even say that about them, but it's
Okay.
just that one location is just the one Tommy's I will not go to.
Okay, so Tommy's in Norwalk.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out and see
Okay.
what happens. I'll let you know. You say you got
Let me
bubble
know if you
guts?
got the
Yeah, I
Hershey
got the
squirts.
double chili cheeseburger.
Okay.
The
I'm
whole
gonna-
whole meal though.
Okay. All right. Ooh.
Probably with a shake.
Man.
Chocolate shake or what?
Nah, Napolitan.
Napolitan
He
shake.
for sure ate that burger, and that was the first day of his sobriety. He's like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with drugs. I'm done with everything.
All right. Next question.
Okay.
What would you say was the most overrated place that you might have eaten at?
Yeah.
Most overrated.
Like when we define
even think of one.
overrated, like
Like,
just to give you an example, like man, there's a lot of restaurants with 100,000 followers, millions of likes
And
on
then when you get
TikTok,
there,
and
it's
you
like-
get there, it's trash, and it's just like, but they got a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we mean. Like, what's a overrated restaurant that you've been at or that you think is overrated?
To be honest, like I would say Felipe's in LA,
Okay.
downtown LA, because they used to be so fire, and it's just like they got that following, so they probably don't care now. Either that or it's just certain days when the executive chef or their chef's probably not there, it's like watered down on the dip, and the sandwiches aren't like what they used to be.
Maybe like on the popular days, like they have
Yeah,
the
like the
actual
Yeah.
cooking
weekends,
and
I'm sure it's top notch. But like you go on
going
a
through the
weekday,
weekdays, like,
yeah, it's just not it.
I knew this man didn't care what people thought about him. I knew this man was brave. You know, I knew he was brave when he agreed to come on and open up about drugs.
mhm.
But this man just said Felipe is overrated. You're gonna have a lot of enemies,
Oh
man.
yeah,
A lot of
they could
hate.
not
Oh,
like me.
yeah,
It's
they're gonna
cool.
blow up the comment section.
If you're gonna go to the casino right down the street on the alley. What's that alley called? Right down the street. It's a little Mexican spot. They got the taquitos. That place is
Not
good.
sure.
There's so many Mexican spots in LA. So when you say
Yeah.
Mexican spot in LA,
Yeah,
there's just
that's
millions
true.
of them.
Yeah, every block.
That's true. The one right there, like in the alley though. That's what I'm trying to remember.
What's your favorite type of food in general?
Mexican.
Like
Mexican
food?
seafood.
Mm.
Okay. Are you Hispanic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kind of, you know, you got
Hispanic,
the
native.
native. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are listening to the podcast and not watching it, this dude got some long hair, so looks healthy too. I feel like I should say pause right there. But
Long hair.
yeah, he got some
Long hair.
so he definitely has a look to him. That's why I'm asking. He looks mixed, and when he said native, yeah, you can see it
Clear.
clearly. Anybody in your family cook?
Not like me, no.
No?
No.
So
I got
you're-
a couple grill masters and people that know their way around like a
Mhm.
grill and that kind of cooking. But when it comes down to like has like had a restaurant experience like myself, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say anybody.
Yeah, okay.
Not
Reason
that
I
comes to
asked
mind.
because I know you said your family's female heavy, like so I'm thinking aunties, grandmas, like
Mhm.
somebody.
Yeah, they could
like
cook.
who showed him how to cook? Anybody?
Right.
No one showed you.
My grandma showed me a few.
Okay.
My nana is what I meant to say. My nana, because she's a full-blooded Irish, born in New Zealand, red hair, blue eyes. But her and my mom were like the ones that taught me the most about cooking.
Okay. Is there a specific dish that like
Breakfast. Breakfast was my specialty.
Okay.
Yeah, I can make killer breakfast.
Okay. So you're good at eggs because I know, man. Even some Iron Chefs, man, they have a hard
Can't
time
even
cracking
cook
eggs,
eggs, bro.
man. TV show I did, man. This chef, she could not do a over easy egg to save her life, and I think that's what sent her home the first round.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're the egg man.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's get it
Amen.
cracking.
He said, "Let's get it cracking."
Get it cracking.
Oh my god, man. Oh wow. Okay.
Unless you like it hard boiled, then some people like it soft.
John, are you all right today,
Soft
man?
boiled.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I like this John. I like this John today. It's just a little weird that it's on the drug episode, but I
Mm.
definitely like this John today.
All right. So with all the things happening in your life, like building you up to where you're at now in life, like can you consider yourself happy? Can you consider yourself like just giving yourself that like self acknowledgement to where like where you're at and where you've come from and where you've been? Like, are you there? Like, are you happy? Can you
on a
consider it?
daily basis, yes. I find my way to find the happiness even in the downfalls of it all, because no matter what, it's all part of the process. We're still gonna get through it, whether or not we go around it or just look at it. So as long as you see the positive in it all, you're still having the right mindset in order to just be on that path. That's the
That's
way I
what's
look
up.
at it.
That's what's up.
I want to thank you for coming on, man, and I want to thank you for opening up and talking about your experiences and drugs and stuff like that. I know that's not easy to talk about.
Yeah, it's a
And,
hard subject.
For you, like, we've talked off camera before, and I know you've lost a lot of friends to drug overdoses and stuff like that. So I know this is a very sensitive subject to you. And we want to thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate you.
Yeah.
And on behalf of the Chef Table Podcast Uncut, we'd like to give you this. There you go.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You want me to open it now?
Yeah, go ahead and
Yeah,
open it now.
for sure.
Okay, let's see. Oh man.
So for the viewers listening, we got him a little sobriety keychain, and basically what it is anytime he feels like he's in a dark place or he's struggling with his sobriety,
Oh wow.
he could just take a look at that and he could just remember that, man, he has support from the Chef Table Podcast Uncut family.
Thank
And,
you.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely,
Do you
for
mind
that.
reading that? What it says?
Yeah,
on there?
well, it says whenever you find yourself doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you have come. Remember everything you have faced, all the battles you have won, and all the fears you have overcome. And on the front it says, I'm proud of you, one day at a time. And that's all it takes, everybody.
One day at a time.
Don't stress yourself out over the big picture of
Yeah.
wanting to be
Baby steps.
the best you could possibly be. All as long as you're being better every day, that's all that matters.
I like that, man. I like your energy. Love your energy, man. You very positive person, man. And for you to go through all that you went through, you have a very, very positive mindset, and I really
I
appreciate
appreciate
that. A lot of people,
Jinx.
man.
Jinx.
Jinx.
You owe me another episode.
No, but for real though, hey, a
Got
lot of
you
people,
guys,
a lot
got
of
you
people
guys.
that have the type of life that you had. Try to be serious, man. He's making me laugh. A lot of
Good at
people,
that.
a lot of people that went through what you would have went through might be angry at the world, man, and they might have a
Yeah.
lot of anger and animosity. But you're the total opposite, man. You
Right.
have a good energy. He has a good vibe, and he's just a positive dude. I would never believe the stories that he went through based off
Mhm.
of just how he carries himself,
he is,
man.
yeah.
Like you just seem like a very
Personality.
genuine, real person,
Thank you so much.
and we were very thankful to have you on here. Someone
Yeah.
so genuine, someone so real, and so open. You
I
know, we
appreciate
don't
you
get that
saying that.
nowadays, man.
Yeah.
We don't know who anybody is now, so because of social media and everything, but you know, you come across really real, and we really appreciate that, man. And
Thank you.
for having you on,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate all your time and every moment that we're here.
And go ahead and shout out your book one more time and let everybody know what it's about.
The name of the book is Journey of Poetry, and it's about anybody that wants to make it through the struggle or see my story.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast.
Yeah.
I want to one more time shout out our sponsor, Tilt.
Tilt.
Check them out in Inglewood,
looking. Yep.
in my personal
Don't
favorite
forget it.
location at the Bridge. So they were the sponsor for this podcast. If you're looking for some merch, some Heat, some J's, some Yeezys, Dunks, they got
they got it.
everything.
They got it.
They got. Say it again.
They got it.
Thank you
Spotty
guys
got
for
'em.
tuning in to this episode, man. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right.
Peace
See
and
ya.
love.